Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network. Here we are at the Southern National Motorsports Park once again for race number 2 of the Trackmaster Sim Series season. Last week we saw an exciting race where Brandon Elvis picked up his 6th career Trackmaster Sim Series win. In the first race of the season, it was a 100-lapper. Went into overtime. We had 9 caution flags last week. We'll see what this week brings. As qualifying underway for these drivers, a few cars left to go. We'll look at the full tower on the left side of our screen. Adam Fulford trying to get a better lap time here on lap number 2. And Fulford going to jump up into the top 10. Right now, Chris Shepard, top of the board with a 14.021. We saw lap times in the 13s in practice, but not quite down to those numbers here in qualifying. Qualifying just about over. Oh, as Jason Fair jumps up to the top. He parks it in 1 and 2. Good lap time from the 18 machine. 14.012. So that is it for qualifying. It's now going to be time for our heat races here tonight. We'll look at the qualifying results real quick before we send heat race number 1 green. You can see a very close field. Only 18 cars took time. But a very tight field on times here tonight, similar to what we saw last week. But a day race here this week, going to change things up a little bit. We'll see heat race number 1 here. They're 15-lap heats, I do believe. So on the pole, it's going to be Jason Fair in the 18. He'll have Brandon Elvis in the 54, last week's winner to his outside. Starting on the inside of row number 3 is going to be Jake Sylvia in the 118. And Aiden Millette in the 09 going to start from the 4th spot. Starting on the inside of row number 3, it's going to be Peyton Craig in the 78. And outside of row 3, starting from the 6th spot, it's the 171 of Adam Fulford. Starting 7th in Heat 1 is going to be Brad Carpenter in the 31 machine. His outside, Robert Taylor in the 25. Inside of row number 5, it's going to be Frank Barbary. Then rounding out our field, Kyle Terzak and Owen Wilson did not put a qualifying lap down, so I don't know if they're going to be with us here at the start of this heat race. But we'll see what happens. We get ready to go. Green flag racing here. Field down the back straightaway. Behind the iRacing.com pace car. Going to send them green for 15 laps. Actually, sorry, 8 laps, rather. 8-lap heat races here. They come across the line. 8 to go. We're underway in heat race number 1. Jason Fair going to take the early advantage down the back straightaway. Brandon Elvis, Jake Sylvia make a little bit of contact for 2nd. Here comes Aiden Millette to the inside. Going to look 3 wide down into turn number 1. That's a tight squeeze, and oh, there's contact. The 54 of Elvis goes around out of turn number 4. The 71 of Adam Fulford didn't really have anywhere to go. You see the front end damage on that machine. And under caution early on in heat race number 1, let's take another look at what happened down into the first couple corners there. See the 9 machine take it 3 wide, and that's a tight squeeze, and the 18 just gets up a little bit. Hard to fit 3 cars into the corner. We'll go on board with Adam Fulford for that. He was a row behind on the outside lane. He's got a good view of this. See down into 1, the 9 car makes a little bit of contact, and that tells a really good story of it. Looked like Millette actually kind of forced Sylvia in the 118 up into Brandon Elvis. So under caution for the first time here tonight. We've got two 118s on the track. I almost don't even know what to do because there's already 3 digits. Can you add another one? Can there be a 4-digit race car? 1118. Guess we'll have to find out. But Jason Fair showing the way so far in this one. He got a good start. He wasn't really involved in that scuffle for second on back. But Brandon Elvis, not the way he wanted to start off week number 2, especially after the success in week 1. But they'll line back up behind the iRacing.com pace car. Caution laps don't count in the heat races. So still 5 laps when they come back around. Pair of 118s lead us back to the stripe. Fair picked the outside lane. Going to give the inside to Jake Sylvia. We'll see how that plays out down the backstretch. Aiden Millette a little sideways down into 3. Makes contact with Fulford. Fulford going to drop down in line behind him. But up front, they battle for the lead. Jason Fair on the outside trying to hold Jake Sylvia down. That outside lane is very good here at Southern National, but only for a certain amount of time. This heat race only has 4 laps left. Sylvia back to the bottom, trying to get that car to drive up off the corner as here comes Aiden Millette one more time, 3 wide. 3 wide into 1 and 2. They race down the back straightaway. Aiden Millette on a mission trying to get to that top starting spot here in heat race number 1, and there's contact off of 4. They keep it straight, though. You can see Adam Fulford right there as well in the 71. He's trying to look to the inside. As now Millette squeezes by Jake Sylvia. He goes by and is going to try to take the top spot here as they come back to the white flag. Final time around. Oh, Adam Fulford gets tagged out of 2. Tough break back behind, but up front for the win in heat race number 1. Look at Aiden Millette from the back. Picks up the victory. From row 2, rather. The 9 machine steals one there. Went 3 wide. Multiple times in that race. And it paid off. He's going to start from the pole. Or he's going to have the pole starting position. You've got to do the invert here in a minute, but we'll see what that brings as we get set for heat race number 2. Field makes their way to the starting grid. Line up for heat 2. Chris Shepard on the pole in the 19 machine. We'll have Jace Hale to his outside. Landon Farmer going to start on the inside of row number 2 in the 026 machine. It is outside. In the 4th spot, it's going to be Zach Murphy in the 29. 75 machine of Dylan Hartman going to roll off 5th with Dominic Frappier to his outside in the 47. The 15 of Brandon Atkinson will roll off from the 7th spot next to Caleb Thompson in the 04. Then Richard Parks in the 113 is going to round out our field, I do believe. As actually, no, it looks like we do have all 11 cars here. Thomas Dean and Mike Fudge just did not get the qualifying lap in. But we will have 11 cars bringing us to the green. Chris Shepard in that 19 machine almost got the pole in qualifying. Jason Fair snuck out a little bit quicker of a lap time just before qualifying wrapped up. So Shepard going to lead us to green in heat 2. With Jace Hale to his outside, Landon Farmer behind him, Zach Murphy in the 29. Folks, if this is your first time watching with us here on the WD Broadcasting Network, hit that red subscribe button. You can see more iRacing content. We stream 4 times a week at the beginning of 2026, so you don't want to miss that. But we are green here in heat race number 2. Down through the first couple corners, Chris Shepard a little bit wide off of turn number 2. Chase Hale has the advantage into 3 and 4, but Shepard going to try and move up the track a little bit. Give it to Jace Hale at the line. That outside lane pretty strong here early on. You see the 9 machine getting a good run down the backstretch, but Shepard able to drive in deep, kind of use up a little bit more room at the line. That time it will be Chris Shepard in the number 19. Shepard back to the bottom. These top 2 still side by side here. We've got 5 laps to go. Landon Farmer holds the 3rd spot. Dylan Hartman trying to get a piece of the action. He's right underneath Zach Murphy there in the 29. But up front, Jace Hale in the 9 machine, making that outside lane work. He hasn't been able to clear Chris Shepard just yet. But Shepard unable to drive up off the bottom. Go on board with Dylan Hartman. He's the car in the 4th spot right now. Has a good view of all this in front of him. Trying to make up as many spots as you can in these heat races. But not a lot of time to do it. 2 laps to go. Chris Shepard finally able to clear. And oh, Landon Farmer goes around almost as Dylan Hartman saved it looks like. But the caution flag does come out. So we will re-rack him and restack him. Dylan Hartman kind of saved Farmer from fully spinning it out, but let's see what happened. This was down the back straightaway. You see the 75 right there. Makes a little contact with the 26 and then straightens him back out. Good job by the rest of the field to not get collected in that, but that will put us under caution. Go on board with the 75 machine. Yeah, not a full spin, but enough of a spin for iRacing's automated timing and scoring system to throw the caution flag. We get ready to send them back green. Should get the 1 to go signal this time. You see the field doubling up out of turn 4. And Shepard going to take that outside lane. He saw what Jace Hale was able to do and wants to try and replicate that here on this green-white checkered. Pace car back off, and we are back racing here at Southern National. 2 laps to go in heat race number 2. Chris Shepard gets a good jump on the outside lane. He'll take the lead down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, Brandon Atkinson, Zach Murphy battling for 3rd. Atkinson scraped the wall a little bit out of 2, but they bring him back to the white flag final time around in heat number 2. Jace Hale into the back bumper of Chris Shepard a little bit. Going to try see if he's got anything left in turn number 3, but it doesn't look like it. Chris Shepard going to bring him back and pick up the victory in heat 2. Shepard, Hale, and Murphy, your top 3. Atkinson and Caleb Thompson round out the top 5. And it's now time for our warm-up here this evening. These guys have got 3 or so minutes to make those final adjustments on these cars. Remember, folks, everybody is on an open setup, so these drivers have free range of whatever they want to do with the car. And it is full in-depth adjustments. All the cars, or all the adjustments you can make on the real-life car, that's what these guys can do here tonight. And it's very competitive, all down to the, well, you saw the qualifying times, down to the 1,000ths of a second frequently here in the late model stocks. Drivers always fighting for that extra 100th up off the corner. As I don't believe we are late to the duck race, so we'll try and do that once again here on the stream. Give you guys the full view of what's going on. This is how they do the inverts here in the Trackmaster Sim series. We're going to wait for the ducks to start moving, and that's what the invert will be. They're lined up. Was it? I believe it's 10 ducks. We will see. They do a quick little shuffle. They just want to make sure everybody's moved around. There's the shuffling, and we're ready. We're off. What will the invert be here tonight? Looks like a 1's coming out front. Here comes the 9. Looks like it's going to be a 9. And 9 will be the invert. So we'll look at the starting grid before we go racing. And then we will invert them from 9. So the warm-up getting finished. Adam Fulford currently quickest in the 171. He had a lot of speed in that last chance race, heat race, despite having a lot of front-end damage there. Brad Carpenter in the 31 didn't have the best result in his heat race. I think he got collected in some incidents behind. As it looks like the checkered flag has flown here on the warm-up. Before we go racing, let's take a look at the schedule coming into tonight. Like I said, we're on week number 2. We've got 125 laps, no tires in the pits. These guys are going to go the entire race on one set. Next week, January 22nd, we'll be able to have tires in the pits. We'll see what happens then and what that strategy looks like. But tonight, no tires, 125 laps. We are ready to go. Look at the starting grid, get it up on screen for you guys. We'll invert it by 9. So Robert Taylor going to roll off on the pole in the number 25 machine. He'll have Brandon Atkinson to his outside in the 15. Starting from the 3rd spot, last week's winner, Brandon Elvis in the 54. And starting from the 4th spot here tonight, going to be Zach Murphy in the 29. Jake Sylvia in their number 118, going to roll off from the 5th spot. And starting 6th, it's going to be Jace Hale in the number 9. Jason Foray in the 18, going to roll off 7th. And then to his outside, Chris Shepard in the 19, going to start 8th. And then 9th, was scheduled to start pole after the invert, going to start 9th. Going to be Aiden Millette in the 09 machine. He's got a lot of speed. We'll see what he can do here in tonight's 125 lapper. Caleb Thompson going to start on the outside of row number 5. And it should be normal on back. Row number 6 at the bottom of your screen. Brad Carpenter in the 31. Going to start next to Richard Parks in the 113. And then the rest of our field on back, it's going to be Adam Fulford in the 171. Dominic Frappier in the 47. That's row number 7. The inside of row 8 is going to be Frank Barbary in the 26. And to his outside, Thomas Dean in the 071. Peyton Craig in the 78 going to roll off 17th next to Dylan Hartman in the 75. Kyle Terzak in the 015. I don't think is going to make the start here tonight. They'll have Landon Farmer to his outside. And scheduled to start 21st is Owen Wilson. Alongside him is Mike Fudge in the 02, rounding out the field. So that is your starting field. I believe we have 20 drivers getting set to take the green. 125 laps here tonight. We look at Southern National. A 4/10 of a mile. Just about 4/10 of a mile, I should say. Oval. Track temp not that hot. I mean, it is 100 degrees compared to the air temp of 69. But still not the hottest we've seen here at Southern National. It's a fairly average track temperature, I'd say, for a sunny day at this racetrack. But the field getting reassembled. Robert Taylor in the 25. Going to start from the top spot. He'll pull ahead here and line up behind the pace car, and we're going to get ready to go racing for 125 laps here at Southern National. Last week we had 100 laps, scheduled to go 100 laps. We actually ended up going 106. It was 9 caution flags, 4 leaders with 13 lead changes. Brandon Elvis was the winner. Jake Sylvia was second. Brandon Atkinson was third. So the field going to get the 1 to go signal here. The green going to fly for 125 laps. Folks, if you're watching a driver here in this race, let me know down in the chat chat below before this race goes green who you're cheering for. So we are going to be green for 125 laps. The action is going to be right in front of you. Pace car drops to the bottom side. Green flag is out, and we are underway here in race number 2 of the Trackmaster Sim Series season. Down the back straightaway they go for the first time, and Robert Taylor goes for a spin in the 25 machine. Caution flag flies immediately. The 25 of Robert Taylor loses it on lap number 1 out of turn number 2. Let's see what happened. Did he have help? Or did he maybe clip the apron? It's very easy to do. Let's see how it happened in 1 and 2. It looked like just got out from underneath of him. Bends down to the inside. I don't believe anybody else was really involved in that ordeal. But under caution, for the first time, we'll go on board with Robert Taylor. You see he's got a lot of wheel in that car, trying to get it to turn, and then just gets a little bit too much. Coming off, goes around, and then immediately jumps back to pit road. And that may do it for his night. He's currently still on pit road, but we'll keep an eye on the number 25. Tough break for your pole sitter. We're going to send him back racing 4 laps in. Brandon Atkinson and Brandon Elvis, your top 2. The pace car makes its way down pit road. Green flag is back out, and we are back underway at Southern National. Good launch down into turn number 1 for Brandon Atkinson. He's got Brandon Elvis to his outside, though. The Brandon and Brandon show out front. 15 on the bottom. Here comes Brandon Elvis on the outside. Zach Murphy's right there as well in the 3rd spot. Back behind him, Aiden Millette up to the 6th position already. We've got a yellow flag behind him. Frank Barbary in the 26 was around. I think Peyton Craig in the 78 may have gotten collected as well. But yellow flag out once again See what happened to the 26. Looked like they were 3 wide up off the corner. I just think the 26 maybe was a little bit off the wall. Let's see that from a higher up angle here. See if we can't grab the drone footage of this, how it happened. Looked like the 28 was coming down the racetrack maybe. There was definitely a lane out to the wall, and I think the 78 just expected a little bit more room, and that's where the contact was. Not too many damaged race cars from that. Big Sylvia and the 118 machine brought that car down pit road. Either made an adjustment or got damage repaired. I didn't see any damage on the 118 early on, but these cars tend to be very sensitive to damage, especially on the right front of the race car. So if you damage the right front early on, probably beneficial to go down pit road and get it fixed while you can. Try to work your way back up through the field. Field gets ready to go back racing here. We are 10 laps in, 10 laps in, 115 laps to go, and we're back underway. Elvis gets a good launch down into 1. He's going to be clear of Brandon Atkinson for the top spot. Now Zach Murphy going to look for second, but I think Atkinson going to be able to clear out of turn number 4. Down the back straightaway, Murphy still on the bottom side, fighting for that second spot, but Atkinson gets down, shuts the door. And your front 5, single file, down into turns 1 and 2. Aiden Millette on the outside lane right there in the 9 machine. Trying to make the long way around work here early. Oh, is Brad Carpenter in the 31 machine. Goes for a slide out of turn number 4. I don't think he had any help there. Looked like the back end came around on him. And third caution flag here to start this one off. He was battling with Dominic Frappier, 0.5 right there. I think just a little bit too much gas. And spun that car to the bottom. Luckily, everybody that was right behind him was able to miss that. Go on board with Carpenter here. You see this gets a little bit too much. Then is not able to get that car corrected back in time. It's a free slide back to the bottom. Let's see if we can't look at this from Thomas Dean's view in the 071 from back behind. You can see the 31 spins right across. He has to get out of the gas. Good reaction time there from the 71 to not get collected in that one. Sometimes it's hard to miss somebody when you're off the corner, full throttle, not expecting anything to happen, and then you have to check up all of a sudden. It's very difficult to miss sometimes, and that was a good avoidance there. So still 19 cars on the lead lap. Carpenter's going to bring that machine out of the pits in time to stay on the lead lap. And we'll see what happens right here. We've had 3 early cautions. What will that do to these race cars if we do get a long run? The heat cycles in these tires are going to change the way that they drive. We'll see how it plays out. 18 laps in, out of 125. Elvis leads them down into 1. .54 gets the jump down the back, and they're wrecking again. The 75 of Dylan Hartman slow out back. And the 71 of Thomas Dean, we were just talking about him. He's got damage on the right rear of that race car. I did not catch what caused that. I just saw him spinning to the inside of the racetrack. Let's see what happened. Here's the 71. Ooh, and I think another car just getting a little bit too much wheel out of the corner. And around they go. Let's look at it on board with the 75. Yeah, just it's a little bit too much wheel. Sometimes when these cars when they feel tight, you get a little bit too much wheel in the corner and it comes right around on the exit. Just not enough time to react, and a lot of these guys do run a quicker steering box as well, so it makes it even more difficult than what it already is. The lights quickly back off on the pace car. Thomas Dean gonna lose a couple laps on pit road. We have 18 cars now on the lead lap. Elvis and Atkinson gonna bring us back to green. Just shy of 100 laps to go. Pace car drops to the bottom side. Once again, we are back racing. Elvis with another good jump down into one. He will be clear of Atkinson out of two. Field making their way down into turn number 3. Jace Hale cuts down into line in the number 9 machine. Now Zach Murphy fighting for second. A little contact there with Brandon Atkinson. Murphy to the bottom. Atkinson up top. And this is what happens at Southern National. When you get side by side, it's very difficult to make that pass work, as Millette to the inside of Fulford right there. You saw the 71 a little bit sideways. Almost went around in that machine. Luckily was able to hang on to that one. Meanwhile, back up in front of him, Aiden Millette trying to continue to work his way forward as Jace Hale has moved alongside the number 15 of Brandon Atkinson. Murphy in the second spot. Move Hale up to third. Aiden Millette in the number 9 to the inside of Chris Shepard. He'll take the 5th spot. Caleb Thompson in the 0-4. Up on the outside lane, trying to hold off the 7th position from Richard Parks. He will do so. That outside gets a pretty good run coming up off the corner. You just got to watch and keep your tires cool, or you will regret it later, as Dominic Frappier made an aggressive move down to the bottom that time to cut off the run of Jake Sylvia. The pair of 118s trying to work their way back forward. Jason Foray, one of the heat race winners earlier on. Look back up front, your top 5 just about nose to tail. Brandon Elvis has a little bit of separation, but Brandon Atkinson running in the 4th spot. He is sandwiched in between Aiden Millette and Jace Hale, the pair of 9 cars. As Millette in the 9 machine. Trying to look to the inside, but not enough room for a move at this moment. You got to really build the runs up off the corner. It's hard when there's a whole bunch of cars in a line right there. As a big checkup happened off the corner that time. Zach Murphy in the 29 kind of grabbed the wall, and you can see everybody kind of bottleneck right as that happened. Field so close together down the back straightaway. Not a lot of separation so far. Only 5 seconds back to Jason Foray. Now 38 laps in, we're starting to get a little bit longer of a green flag run. Definitely the longest we have seen tonight. And Brandon Elvis continuing to show the way. Last week, he led 60 laps en route to victory. Peyton Craig led 41. Currently, the 78 machine sits in the 11th spot. This thing start to get a little bit more spread out here. We're going to see drivers start to struggle with their race cars. Drivers start to heat up their tires. And the biggest thing is just trying to keep your rhythm set and keep the tires cool on the race car. As here comes Aiden Millett, going to take a peek to the inside of Brandon Atkinson. Down into turn 3, a little contact off of 4, but Atkinson going to keep his foot in the gas. And he'll hang on to that spot. Back behind, Jake Sylvia, went to the bottom, and there's contact. Richard Parks up the racetrack. Dominic Frappier and Jake Sylvia going to go by. But Richard Parks got knocked into 3 that time. You could kind of see it coming. The 05 was going down the racetrack. The 118 was too. And Parks in the 113, trying to hold his ground. He's fallen outside of the top 10 as Peyton Craig tries to take that final spot in the top 10. Park's going to hold it for now. Back up front, Brandon Elvis's lead, only half a second, so he's not out in front by much. But he has led a good chunk of this race. Zach Murphy hanging on to the second spot. You can see the row of cars he has got behind him, all hungry for that second position. Just unable to get the run up off the corner that's needed to make the pass. Jace Hale in the 9. You can see him close right up through the center. Brandon Atkinson running in the 4th spot, right behind Jace Hale. And you can see that Murphy's checkups trying to affect Atkinson. A couple of seconds later is, Atkinson gets a little bit of a tap from behind. You could see the gloves moving right there. Had to save that race car up off of 4. Loses a little bit of ground to Jace Hale. Good save from Atkinson. There is a 5-car breakaway out front. Chris Shepard runs in the 6th spot. Caleb Thompson 7th. Jake Sylvia has passed Dominic Frappier for 8th. Frappier is 9th. Richard Parks back up into the top 10. He's trying to take that spot away from Dominic Frappier right there. That's for 9th. That 113 machine has found something on that outside lane. He's able to make it work better than other drivers that I've seen so far. He's up on the outside lane, making the pass, not already there. He's actually driving up to the outside of drivers and making that pass work. Look at the gap right there, 4 second now. Murphy may be starting to struggle with that race car a little bit. No, around goes Jace Hale. And out of 4, a big-time pileup. Caleb Thompson in the 0-4 up in the air. Chris Shepard went around. And man, a mess on the exit of the 4th corner. Let's take another look at what happened. Jace Hale got tagged on the exit of turn number 4. You can see he got into the 29, and I think as soon as he got into the 29, Atkinson in the 15 had nowhere to go, and then, man, look at everybody piling in there. The exits of these corners are pretty blind, though. Sometimes it can be hard to see the straightaway when you are center of the corner. Let's take a look on board with Brandon Atkinson there. I want to see his view from behind Jace Hale, that contact that spun the 9 machine. Yeah, and you can see just the slightest contact. And there wasn't really much that the 15 could do. And you can see what ensued back behind. Let's take a look at some of the carnage behind. We'll go on board with the 05 of Dominic Frappier. What he saw in this one, when they were coming up off the corner, you can see everybody nowhere to go. And the field getting ready to come back to the green. I think Jace Hale wanted that spot back, is not going to get it. Field not quite ready to go back racing yet. We'll get the 1-to-go signal this time by. Race control wants to make sure the lineup is all set before we send them green. Got a decent little chunk of green flag laps in there that time. We'll see what we can do here. We do know that sometimes when you get the caution flag, it can be a little bit harder to get the cars back going. But we'll see what happens on this restart. Watch out for that 9 machine in the 3rd spot, Aiden Millette. He's got speed here early on. We'll see if he carries that into this restart. Green flag flies once again. We're back underway at Southern National. Big Sylvia looking to the inside, 3 wide in turn number 1. Trying to catch the 9 machine of Aiden Millette off guard, but Millette going to be able to clear for the 2nd spot as the caution flag flies. Oh, and there's more after the fact. Mike Fudge in the 8 machine right there. Went around. Did not quite catch that one there. But I did see Caleb Thompson going around in 1 and 2. And that is what put us under yellow once again. See what happened to Thompson. Oh, it looked like just may have gotten hit in the back bumper there. Pretty good from the 9 machine of Jace Hale. I didn't catch how it happened, but Hale got into the corner pretty hard. Let's look at it from above. That's usually the best way to tell in these situations. And I just don't think the 9 machine quite expected the 04 to check up that hard for the corner. And then let's watch what happened to Mike Fudge as well. It looked like Brandon Atkinson in the 15 may have tagged him after the fact. But the caution flag back out here. 6th caution flag of the evening. We are just past halfway. Thomas Dean going to get the lucky dog. He will be back on the lead lap. We have 17 cars now on the lead lap. As the field once again getting ready to go back racing. Brandon Elvis, Zach Murphy, your top 2. They roll through the restart zone. We're not going green this time. Lights back on. Race control was not quite happy with the lineup that time. They gave it one more look, and I think we're ready to go this time around. As the pace car drops pit side one more time through the restart zone, they're back underway. Good start from Elvis in the 54. Zach Murphy in the 29 going to try to hang on to the second spot, but he's got Aiden Millette looking inside. As Millette had a challenge from Jake Sylvia. Now Sylvia right there on the back bumper, but look at the run from Zach Murphy on the top. The 29 trying to keep that machine out there as there's a little contact out of 2. Jake Sylvia to the inside of Aiden Millette. Forces his way to the bottom. Here comes the 118 to the inside of the 9. They're 3 wide back behind him. As Sylvia up into the second spot. Aiden Millette in the 9 machine going to be back to the 4th position. Zach Murphy's able to get by as well. There's Chris Shepard in the 19 trying to move his way back up into the top 5. It's Dylan Hartman in the 75 taps the wall pretty good there out of 4. You gotta watch how many times you do that, especially with the right front angled first. As Millette moves back up into the 3rd spot. He'll set his sights on Jake Sylvia here as they try to track down your race leader, Brandon Elvis. A scuffle back behind him for the 5th spot. Peyton Craig going to take the 5th spot away as here comes Landon Farmer on the outside lane. He's got something figured out here just past halfway. We've got 50 laps to go this time. Landon Farmer trying to work his way up towards the top 5. Looks like they're going to try to split Chris Shepard 3 wide. There's barely enough room for that 26 machine. He's got a good view of it out of 2. You can see the 75 of Hartman to his inside. That's all happening for the 6th spot on back. It looks like Jason Foray in the 118 will take that spot away. As Dylan Hartman has a bobble off the corner that time. He was all kinds of sideways. He held on to it, though. Meanwhile, up front for a second, Jake Sylvia's got company to his back bumper. Aiden Millette is right there, fighting for that spot. He's putting pressure on, trying to get that 118 to make a mistake. Meanwhile, behind him, Jason Foray up to the 5th spot. Started from the 8th spot here tonight up to 5th. Adam Fulford trying to move his way back forward to the inside of Dominic Frappier. That's for the 11th spot on the racetrack. Not too many drivers that loose off the corner right this second. Everybody still has a good amount of drive off, but I'm sure at some point we're going to see some drivers starting to slide the tires a little bit. You can see Adam Fulford get to the inside of Dominic Frappier, trying to take that spot away, but the outside lane is so good. You're able to keep that momentum. Meanwhile, up front for the 2nd spot, your third place cars not too far off of Brandon Elvis. Very similar lap times up front, but you can see Jake Sylvia in the 118 starting to lose some of the handling on that race car. He's getting loose up off of the corners. And Aiden Millette all over the back bumper, trying to make that pass. Is now down into turn number 3. Here comes the 9 machine looking inside. Little contact off of 4. Aiden Millette trying to move inside here. Jake Sylvia going to let him go. Sylvia back to third. Meanwhile, Zach Murphy reeling those guys in as well, and we'll see what Aiden Millette has now as we have 35 laps to go. 35 to go for Brandon Elvis. Laps running out in this one as the caution flag flies. Not sure what happened there. I think Landon Farmer may have had trouble in the number 26 machine. Try and see what happened here. It looked like off the corner, the 26 of Farmer and the 75 of Hartman make contact. They both go down to the bottom, come to a stop, and that brings out the caution. So caution flag out once again. That'll reset Brandon Elvis's lead. And he'll have Aiden Millette lining up to his side. Under caution for the 7th time here tonight. Elvis, your leader. Millette 2nd. Sylvia 3rd. Murphy 4th. Jason Frey in the 5th spot. Watch out for that 118 sitting 5th. He had a lot of speed earlier on tonight. I wouldn't count him out here late in the race. He was able to drive up into 5th during that run, so he's got some speed left in the race car. Field gets the 1 to go signal here. They double up. Elvis chooses the inside lane. Let's see how it works out for him. They go through the restart zone. Back underway here at Southern National. Down into turns 1 and 2. Brandon Elvis going to have the 9 of Aiden Millette to his outside. What can they do to try and fend him off here? The 9 machine driving up to the outside. He's going to try to take the lead here. Outside lane can be better at the beginning of these runs. They drag race down the back straightaway. Brandon Elvis going to have to hold that machine to the bottom side and try to drive up off the corner. Little contact that time. Jake Sylvia's right there, ready to take 3rd if he can, or take 2nd if he can. It's the 9 machine. Oh, a little contact is made right there. Aiden Millette up the racetrack. And Brandon Elvis going to maintain the lead. 28 laps to go. As back behind him, Brad Carpenter up in the air. Dylan Hartman involved as well. Caution flag flies. Just as Brandon Elvis got clear for the lead right there, caution flag is going to come back out. He's going to have to do it again. But what happened down the back straightaway? I saw Brad Carpenter and someone spinning off of 2. And let's see, I think it was Chris Shepard there. Yeah, Chris Shepard makes contact off the corner. And Brad Carpenter shot straight up in the air off the nose of Richard Parks. Kind of scooped him up off the ground. A tough break with some of those drivers that didn't really have much to do with that. It just got slid into. Go on board with Adam Fulford, see his view of it. This happened right in front of him. He was trying to go to the inside and then just bam, right into the 19 machine. There was nothing he could have done there. A lot of damage on that race car. You can see he's turning it to the left pretty good in the straightaway. So Fulford gonna have to really drive that car. Eighth caution flag. The lights drop on the iRacing.com pace car. The Field gets ready to go back racing. We're inside of 25 laps to go, so it's crunch time here for this race for the lead. Good jump from the 54. And he'll be clear down into 1 and 2. Jake Sylvia going to try to cross over down the backstretch. Here comes the 118 to the bottom, and Elvis tries to block off a little bit. He'll slide up the racetrack out of 4. They come back to 22 laps to go, and the caution flag's going to fly. Landon Farmer in the 26 machine stopped on the front stretch. Let's see what happened to the 26 of Farmer. Oh, and tagged by the 75 of Hartman. Man, those two have had their fair share of issues tonight. And off the corner that time, the 26 machine. See, go try and go on board with 75. We'll go a lap earlier here. This was the restart, and this is on board with Dylan Hartman in the 75. Yeah, it looked like just got into the left rear. I don't know if he misjudged that or what happened there, but clips the left rear and around they go. The field gets ready to go back racing here. White flag is out and the lights are off in the iRacing.com pace car. They're getting ready to go back racing. Green flag drops. They're back underway. Elvis and Sylvia lead them through the restart zone. We're racing down into turn number 1. 54 and the 118 side by side down the backstretch. Elvis has the advantage into 3. Watch Aiden Millette in the 3rd spot. They're side by side coming back to the line. 17 laps to go. 118 up on the outside lane. Has the advantage now into 3. What can Brandon Elvis do? Try and take that spot back. Sylvia up top. 54 trying to drive back down to the bottom. What can he do here? As though a little contact's made that time up off of the corner. 15 laps to go. 54 of Elvis peeks back in front. And man, they are really tight on each other's doors off the corner, and I think that's where the contact's stemming from. Neither of them wanting to give an inch. But there's 14 laps to go. You really can't give much this late in the race, and these guys are all this close. You see Aiden Millette right there in the 3rd spot, ready to pounce as soon as one of these drivers gets clear. It's now Elvis in the 54 trying to drive back up alongside, but Sylvia in the 118 has found the better way around the outside lane. He'll lead coming back to 12 laps to go. Clear into 1 as Aiden Millette in the number 9 machine gets into the back bumper of the 54. He'll move Elvis up to the top side there. Now Millette going to try to take over 2nd. Here comes Jason Foray to the inside. Foray going to look 3 wide. And now Millette up into the outside wall, up off the corner and to the inside. Aiden Millette and Jason Foray spin down the back straightaway. The 118 and the 9 car spin. Let's see how it happened. It was getting exciting there, and it all unfolded. This is the lap before. This is right when the 118 gets clear, and you can see the bumper to the back bumper of the 54. The 9 car moves to the inside and then kind of moves up the racetrack, which opens up the door for the 118 of Jason Foray. He moves to the inside. And then up off the corner right there, I think Elvis just did not come out of the throttle right there. Did not want to lose the run and maybe a little frustrated with Millette. And that will restack things. 54 and the 9 machine to the rear. Lights still on, but the 10th caution flag so far. We're just shy of 5 laps to go. But inside the final 10 laps. Zach Murphy right there in the second spot. He's going to try and time this one up here. He's still got a fast car. He was right there in the mix. So we'll see if Murphy's got anything left in the tank. White flag right here. We're going to come back to 6 laps to go. 6 to go for Jake Sylvia. Zach Murphy bringing him through the zone. We are back racing. Oh, and back behind, Aiden Millette and the 54, Brandon Elvis, tangled up. I saw it at the left corner of the screen right before it cut away. But Millette in the 9 machine, not happy. I think that is going to do it for the 9. Let's see what happened. It was right on the restart. You watch the 9 machine just move to the inside and try and top off the 54 of Elvis. Actually ends up going around himself there. You can see the tires not in the right alignment at all. That left rear is out quite a ways. But a frustrating night for the number 9 machine, for sure. And I think that's actually going to do it for the 54 of Elvis, too. So Jake Sylvia and Zach Murphy going to bring us back to overtime now. Field doubling up, but not... Oh, we are going green this time. Lights off in the iRacing.com pace car. So green, white, checkered time here at Southern National. Good start from the 118. We're back racing down into 1 and 2. 2 laps to go for Jake Sylvia. They're battling for the second spot. Peyton Craig almost got there, but here comes Zach Murphy. White flag is out. Final time around. Final lap here at the Southern National Motorsports Park. Jake Sylvia leads by a couple car lengths. He's trying to hold off Zach Murphy. For third back behind him, it's going to be Peyton Craig, but out of 4, Jake Sylvia wins race number 2 for the Trackmaster Sim Series. The 118 parks it in victory lane, goes for a victory slide on the exit of 2. And that's going to do it for race 2. We'll grab a word from our top 3 in just one moment. But an exciting one there. Elvis, who led so many laps this race, not going to be victorious for the second week in a row. Not going to finish this race, actually. And your winner, Jake Sylvia, burning it down on the front stretch. Let's see if we can't grab a word from our top 3 finishers here. Let's start with our second place finisher because we've got them easily accessible here in the booth. Actually, we'll start with our third place finisher, Peyton Craig. There we go. Available for us in the booth. And Peyton Craig up in the broadcast booth here tonight. Third place finisher. You got a copy?
I do have a copy.
Alrighty, well, third place finish here tonight. You started from the 17th place spot, so you came from deep in the field, picked up the third place finish here tonight. You led 41 laps last week. Third place finish here tonight. Tell me how you feel.
I'm feeling pretty good for where the situation we were in. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a good run. Came from deep in the field. You were able to capitalize off of some of those early yellow flags, and there was a lot of controversy, but it looked like the 78 was actually staying out of it for the most part. So it was a good, clean run for you here, and that's ultimately what got you the podium. You were able to navigate your way through and pick up third place finish. Who do you have to thank for a good run in week 2?
I just want to thank my parents, and I want to thank RaceEPI.com for the crazy setups, and Jason Frere for helping me during the week on setups, and yeah, he's been a really big help.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you, Peyton, on your third place run here tonight, and hopefully we can talk to you later on throughout the season.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now we will talk to our second place finisher, Zach Murphy. We'll see if we can't grab him up in the broadcast booth. Zach Murphy up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, buddy.
Alrighty, buddy. Well, it's been a long time since I've talked to you here in the broadcast booth. And second place here tonight in the Trackmaster Sim Series. It was an eventful race, but the 29 machine looked like it had a lot of speed all night long. Hard-earned second place finish.
Yeah, man, happy with the run for sure. A little bit of attrition out there to get us on the podium, but I think we definitely had top 5 speed all night, and invert helped, and yeah, just kept up front and kept the nose clean and able to land on the podium. So happy for that.
Yeah, I think 2 things mattered the entire night: track position and keeping out of the mess. It got hectic at several points, kind of all over the pack. It was right there at the front at the end, and then in the beginning, it kind of got hectic towards the back, but 29 machine stayed out of all of that and ultimately picked up a second place run. Who do you have to thank, Zach, for a podium finish in week 2?
Yeah, I got to thank Whitney on Motor for coming on the car. Got to thank Justin over at Coleman Designs for keeping the schemes fresh. Got to thank Brandon over at Coastal Performance for the setup. Thing was hooked up tonight for sure, and definitely had a lot of speed. The whole team, all the guys, Adam and Brandon and Caleb. It's always fun to race with those guys. Yeah, got to thank all the guys over at MRL for putting this on. It's a really fun series. I know Christian's putting a lot into race control and getting everybody in line. And yeah, last but not least, we'll thank you, Winston, for the great broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch them. So appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been a fun season so far. We're 2 races in. Next week, we have the longest race of the season so far. 171 laps. You do have tires next week, so that's going to be a little bit of a different strategy rolling in. How are you feeling going in there with second place finish this week?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Definitely got a little bit of work to do. Kind of built a little loose on that first, the kind of the one longer green flag run we had. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot about tire management and track position, kind of like you saw tonight. So hopefully we can do the same thing we did and be talking to you again next week.
Alrighty, well, it was good talking to you, Zach. Hopefully we can talk to you next week, like you said, and we wish you luck throughout the season.
Thank you, bud. Take care.
Yes, sir. Alrighty, that was your second place finisher. Now let's talk to our winner here tonight. Up into the broadcast booth, Jake Sylvia, our winner in the 118. You got a copy?
I do.
Alrighty, well, it was an eventful race all around. You came down pit road early on lap 7, I think it was, like one of those early caution flags. Came down pit road. I don't know if it was to make an adjustment, maybe to get a little damage fixed, but had to come from the rear of the field early and worked your way up. Battled with Brandon Elvis very hard there at the end, and then him and Millette had that little deal and kind of fell in your lap at that point.
Yeah, I didn't realize until I got out there that it wasn't 100 laps this week. So I was cutting it close on fuel last week, so I knew there was no chance I was making it. So I figured instead of hoping for yellows and ending up with a green run, I just take the hit on track position early on and work my way back through.
Yeah, it's always good to, if you make that mistake, it's always good to take that hit early on and give yourself as much time possible. Luckily, at the beginning, you had some early cautions, got a little bit of time to try and pick them off on those restarts. but ultimately a great run for the 118. You worked your way back up through the field and were up there battling at the front at a pretty reasonable spot in the race. You allowed yourself plenty of time to put yourself in the position to win. But winner here in week number 2. Last week you finished second. 2 weeks, 2 podium finishes. Who do you have to thank for the results?
Yeah, you guys for coming out here. Everybody that puts this on. Number 1, John Lyday, my biggest fan. He had me rolling this week. He made sure to have the little beer section rolling in the stands, so I appreciated that. And Elvis and Aiden, they were, they were giving some competition. I don't know what their deal is between each other, but I drove by them both before they had a shot to wreck each other. So just wish me and Jason would have had a better chance to race each other up front, but fortunately he got wrecked. So hopefully next week it'll occur.
Yeah, next week we've got a longer race than what we've seen so far this season. 171 laps, and you've got a set of tires. How does this strategy kind of play a little bit differently with the longer race and the tires?
Yeah, I think similar to I didn't plan on starting from the back this week, but after my mistake on the setup in the heat race and then the feature this week, being able to cut through the field like that, I feel like I've got the most experience so far doing it. I kind of get an idea how long it'll actually take to get into contention. So I think it'll really just be whoever can, take that set with maybe 50 to go. I don't know if it'll be 4 or 2. I'll have to kind of look at it, but I'm not going to bring a different setup. I'm going to bring the same thing and just add gas. It's worked so far, so no reason to change it up.
Right? Don't fix what's not broken. Well, congratulations to you, Jake, on your win here tonight, and hopefully we can talk to you later on throughout the season.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Alrighty, that was your winner here tonight, Jake Sylvia. Let's look at our finishing results one more time before we wrap things up here at Southern National. And that's our qualifying results. We'll try that one more time. Feature results up on screen. Your winner in the 118, Jake Sylvia. Then Zach Murphy in second. Peyton Craig third. Brad Carpenter fourth. Landon Farmer fifth. Chris Shepard sixth. Adam Fulford seventh. Thomas Dean eighth. Frank Barbary ninth. Mike Fudge 10th. Jason Foray 11th. Jace Hale 12th. Richard Parks 13th. Dominic Frappier 14th. Dylan Hartman 15th. Caleb Thompson 16th. Brandon Atkinson 17th. Robert Taylor comes home 18th. And then it's Aiden Millette 19th. And Brandon Elvis finishes in the 20th spot after that one. So that'll do it for us here tonight. Let's look at the Trackmaster Sim Series schedule coming up. We've got race 3 next week, and then we are officially halfway through the season. So we'll see how that race goes. The longest race so far. It's going to be an exciting one. You won't want to miss it. But until next time, I'm your host, Winston Deal, signing it off from the WD Broadcasting Network. Hit that red subscribe button for more iRacing content. We will talk to you guys on Sunday night for the Only Short Tracks Late Model Series. So y'all take it easy. Have a great night. I'm your host, Winston Deal, signing it off from the WD Broadcasting Network.